All right, let's get into it here on a Tuesday. So, look, no matter what we do today, it's not going to make everybody happy, so I'm not going to try. We will acknowledge, obviously, what took place last night at Michigan State, and then we are going to do our damnedest to give you an escape from it. And here's why. In my 2 decades of doing this now here, I'm numb to it. It's just a countdown until it happens again, and where? It's like a sick, sadistic bingo board of human death. So, no, Rico and I are not going to do a conversation on mental health. We're not going to do a conversation on gun control because you don't care enough. Nobody cares enough to do anything about it. It will continue to happen. It will continue to kill innocent people. It's a matter of where, what demographic, what part of the country, and that's it. So we'll talk here for a segment, maybe 2. But then, you know what? I don't want anyone to feel like we don't care. We do. I'm disgusted. But
we're acknowledging the problem. We acknowledge what happened. But we're not going to dedicate 4 hours to a show where, frankly, nothing's going to change. Nothing's going to happen. Correct. All we're going to do is just reset the clock in how many days until the next one.
Right. And that's, Rico, I was saying it to Doug. I go, no, we're not doing 4 hours on it. I mean, I was here live when Sandy Hook was going down, and I'm like, well, this has to be the end of this. I mean, it's little kids. It doesn't change. I mean, Sandy Hook was, 11 years ago? 12 years ago? So it just gets worse. Yeah. So, no, guys, just understand something. I mean, I try to be totally transparent. Rico texted me last night. I looked at my phone. I said, well, that's effed up. And I just made a decision I would check in. I saw a little bit of the coverage. I don't need to watch this. Checked in before bed at around midpoint.
Unfortunately, these students were there at the wrong time.
Well, I got, it's funny, and I think a lot of people probably had that moment last night. It's like I got a text from one of my college roommates, a buddy of mine, and he's like, you ever look back to like when we were there and how innocent it was? It was just easy. It was, mid to late 90s. And it was just, he basically is like, how far gone that is. And I'm like, yeah, it's part of the reason why raising a kid in this world doesn't seem optimal to me. I mean, honestly, I'm terrified for parents. I fear for my sister and my niece, my nephew. Like, it's just, I don't know. Like, good luck would be my best advice because there's nowhere safe. We've seen it at a Bible study. We've seen it at a movie theater, nightclub.
We just saw, a second grader shoot his teacher.
Correct. Yes, that was a hot topic in our household. So, yeah, I guess my question would be, do you understand why we're not going to do 4 hours on this? I hope you guys understand that us moving towards sports here in a few minutes is not flippant. It's not insensitive. It's that for every person who wants to talk about it, I happen to think there's 2 or 3 that don't. Yeah. Because a vast majority of us, and I'll say this, it's not a badge of honor. It's just me being honest with you. I'm numb to it. I'm used to seeing the headlines. I'm used to seeing these things happen. And this one happened in our backyard, and that's why it's relevant. But it doesn't change anything because no one wants it to change.
No, you're right. It is being numb to it. I think the only difference was because I know people up there, or people who have kids.
Sure.
So just kind of checking in on them last night and this morning, making sure everybody was okay. Hey, you good? Yeah, you know what? Yeah, it was scary, But that's really about it. Other than that, man, I wish I could say this will be the last time, but it won't.
Rico,
we'll do this show within 3 months.
Right. Well, it feels like yesterday Oxford took place.
Right.
Okay, now it's, 70 miles up the road. Now you get another incident. There was a shooting at Central. Like, my point is, if you want to take something away from this, I would say this. Like, watching the news, and the news, which largely does a poor job these days in all facets, they have to scold people.
Can I say something really quick?
You can take it to 6. It's 53 and sunny. I'll put a lawn chair out there.
You will stay here.
Okay.
If I got to do this, you got to do this. Yeah, when the news means well, but when you're telling people, hey, don't respond to social media and rumors and like that, and then you go out there and tell well, we don't know. It's, we can't confirm this, but we heard that. How are you any different than what social media just did? You're telling people stop doing that as you do it. If you don't have anything to say, shut up. Go back to regularly scheduled programming until you have something.
But it's the
problem.
problem.
Just to stand there to say, well, we're here live.
Right.
Look at us.
We're
a
here.
Tree. Yeah. Let's get a little closer to the cops. How about you don't? And let them do their job.
Because it's what we've become. There really is no reason for 24/7 breathless coverage of anything unless you have news to report.
Right.
Then you factor in, and this is where I think Doug and Scott did a great job with this, the social media aspect of it. See, it's simple. They could have gone further. And it's no secret. I think social media is the downfall of humanity. I think social media has destroyed people's self-esteem. It's destroyed their self-worth. It's destroyed their view of the world.
So social media is basically being, given 5.5 points.
The devil's number? Yeah, to a point. It's brought out the worst of us. And I just look at it like last night, you had people trying to openly mislead what was going on. Why? Because they want their 5 minutes. They want to feel important. And because we've granted everyone a voice, this is where we end up. I feel terrible for law enforcement, for the dispatchers, for the people. Here's the other thing. What? How do we get to a point where 200,000 people are listening to a police blotter?
Because you can download the app.
Yeah, but why? That shouldn't be for everyone.
Because, Mike, we live in a society where you have to know everything at all times, and you need to know it first so you can say, hey, did you hear this? Hey, did you know this?
Right.
Hey, all the police scanner is them saying, let's go check on this. It's not saying something's happening.
Right.
It's basically their private communication. Guys, you know what? I hate to say it. Somebody needs to go check on Hubbard Hall. Oh, so there's a shooter in Hubbard. No, he said somebody go check on it.
Right. No, Doug and Scott covered that top down. They did a really nice job with it. I just would go further into what the cause is. Look, the other thing, too, look, it's horrific. But when you think about it, it's like there's nothing that stops it. MSU is 6,000 acres. It's 60,000 students and faculty. Like,
it's that and Ohio State are the two biggest campuses in the United States.
And there's just nothing to stop it. There's nothing to stop it from happening. Rico doing some late night grocery shopping. Think about all the places it's happened. Nothing is sacred. Nothing is. Hell, we've checked off the Bible study portion of the program.
Right.
Nothing is
parades.
Safe. Right. So no, it's just
grade schools.
I guess my point to you guys is, we can be human beings on one end of it, and it's awful, and it leaves you sick. Because, like, I was reading the New York Post this morning, and they had the pictures of the kids. And I did think about it, and I just, they're so young. They're just babies. And you freak out a little bit because you're like, holy hell. Like, I was that age at one point. That's how young I was when I was there.
Yeah.
But then you look at it and you go, they didn't even get to begin their life. They didn't get to do anything. They didn't get to live.
Yeah, and when you're that age, you're invincible. Nothing's going to happen to you.
Right.
You're on college campus.
Right. So, but again, no one's interested in fixing it. There's no political party that wants to fix it. There's no will from the people to treat each other better.
And there's nothing that gets respected. Because it's like, okay, well, this can't happen to college kids.
Right. This
can't happen
might
to high
be
school
a little
kids.
low.
Right.
We can't do no.
But let's all agree that this draws the line.
Right.
It doesn't.
So, David, where are you at? I mean, you were home. I'm sure you got the news at some point because nothing gets by anybody anymore. Look, we talked about it as a show. Rico and I don't feel 4 hours is going to serve any purpose. We could fill the phone lines. We could do the tots and pears routine, which I'm tired of. Any politician who offers thoughts and prayers, do me a favor. Go put yourself to bed because it's useless. All that is just it's frosting on a cake. And the rest of it, we're done as a society. People have lost their minds. And you can thank that little phone you hold all day as a part of it. So David, where are you at? You've got young children. I would imagine the emotions as a parent have to be twice as terrifying as someone like me without kids.
I'm going to be quite honest. It is, but I try to bury it as much as I can because if I don't, it will be tough to just live day by day. So, but what happens though, last night is, and it, everyone deals with it in their own way. But
Yeah.
when it starts getting closer to home, is when it affects me.
Sure.
I have he's married to my cousin, but I treat her like a sister, so I call her my brother-in-law, and he works up there. So when I start thinking and seeing the news, and I start texting and
Sure.
trying to find out where he's at, and that part is when it starts getting, tough to watch.
Yeah, it's a little close to home.
Yeah, it's like, okay, now
Sure.
this is ridiculous. Now.
If my sister were still at school up there, it would hit differently. And it's not that I don't care. It's that nothing shocks me anymore.
Correct.
It just
That's what
doesn't.
it is. That's what it is. When you're right, you sit in a Bible class and boom, it happens. And you're at a grocery store and it happens. It's like, okay, now you can't go anywhere. So yes, when it comes to my kids, I try to bury it as much as I can. Otherwise,
Yeah, no, you can't alter the way you live. Those young people weren't doing anything wrong. They weren't doing anything nefarious. They were living their life. It's all just at this point, it's come down to natural selection, a game of chance. Because if you're going to sit here, you can't maniac proof your life. You just live, and you just got to hope at some point it's just not your time to go. Because that's the sick reality of, like, I can't imagine having to tell your kids that. There's nothing you can do. There's no stop, drop, and roll for this. There's no DARE program. There's no nothing. Like, literally, if the living embodiment of evil decides that day is going to be the end of your days, there's really nothing you can do. So again, I don't want to get into political footballs, but no, nothing is going to stop this because we won't stop what the problems are, which are various, and we'll leave it at that.
Here's how the cycle goes. Right now, everybody's concerned. Oh, this is a shame. This should never happen.
Please offer tots and pears, as I call it, because it's useless.
I'm not even going to say that. These kids, it's so unfair. That's today. Tomorrow, the separation begins, and by day 3, it's, the guns don't kill people. People kill people. No, you need to get this, and I need that, and blah, blah, blah.
Or it's
and
all
we've
mental
forgotten about
health.
it. Yeah.
Or it's all of it. No, it's not all anything. It's a multitude of issues. And you know what the funniest part is? You will eventually get to a point where you get to the exasperation phase by politicians.
That's day 5.
There's no way to prevent any of it,
right,
except this is the only country it keeps happening in.
Yeah, no way to prevent any of it. You know what? You get to Tayshaun Prince, and then day 6, we just move on to the next story. Was the dress blue or is the dress white?
Right. So, yeah, it sucks. But I really don't know what to do with it. I really don't. I just don't think 4 hours. I don't think it's necessary because nothing we say is going to change anything. We're not going to change any minds. We're not going to change opinions. We're sure as hell not going to fix it. And we're not going to be able to fix. I mean, it's awful. Families just shattered forever. I mean, can you imagine, too? I was watching, might have been DIV. And I think somebody had made the comment, like, imagine you're a parent, a faculty member, you have a relative who endured what happened in Oxford, and then you happen to be at MSU last night.
Yeah, because there was some freshmen up there.
Can you imagine? I mean, forget about just being a regular student who's never had to endure anything. But imagine going from that to that. The point is, those points of connection is like it happens all the time.